We already have about 168 people in here, and it's just 4 o'clock. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm seeing your highs, I'm seeing your hellos. Okay, we have Weird MC here. Interesting. Okay, hi guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Oluwa Damilola. I work with the TS Academy team, and I'm so excited to have you here today. Hi, everyone. Hi, Chukwujeku. Hi, Star Osman. Hi, everyone. Hi. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us. This webinar is brought to you by TS Academy. And I know that quite a few of you know who and what TS Academy is, but I'm just going to introduce us again. TS Academy is an EdTech organization, and what we do, to be honest, is we take tech and digital skills and we make it available and accessible and affordable to young Nigerians, and to be honest, people across Africa. We have learners from across Africa, Kenya, actually some people living in Pakistan, so quite a lot of people, to be honest. And we're so excited to have you all here today. I see that the room is actually getting filled up. Right now, we have about 200, almost 300 people in here. So thank you so much for joining us. So while we're waiting for more people to join us, and we have quite a few people in the waiting room, I want to do something very fun. I can see all the highs in the chat, and I want you to do something for me. This webinar is about taking bold career decisions, making bold career decisions. So I'd like to know in the chats, can you tell me what you studied in the university or in your higher institution? Just tell me what you studied and then what you're doing. I want to know if your current workplace or like what you're doing right now as a career is the exact thing that you studied. So let's do that in the chat. If you did psychology, what are you doing right now? If you did agric extension, what are you doing right now? Just go on and do that. Okay, I'm seeing some really exciting responses. Okay. Let's keep that coming in. Okay, so while we're doing that, I'm going to introduce this webinar to us. I know that we already know the title of this webinar. We know what we're learning here today. We're learning how to build a sustainable tech career. And to be honest, what we want you to take out of this is for you to be able to make the decisions that you need to make in order to pivot in your career or make bold career decisions with confidence. Now, we know that for some people, making bold career decisions is actually staying. And that's something that we want you to learn today. For some people, it is pivoting. For some people, it's to do something very different from what they're currently doing. And that's quite all right. But how do you find the right tech career path for you? How do you make sure that your career path lines up with your personality and your skills? How do you even know what exactly that you can do, really, right? We want to make sure that you're able to learn all of that today. So if you want to switch careers without losing your current progress, if you want to figure out what are the most beginner-friendly tech roles, this is where you learn it. So thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you here today. Now, just quick housekeeping to explain how this is going to run. We're going to introduce our guest here today. I know that a lot of us are here because of Wamide, so you'll see her very soon, don't worry. We're going to introduce our guest. I'll just talk a little bit about her, and then she's going to come up and she's going to give us a very exciting presentation. She's going to talk to us for about 30-ish minutes, and after that, you'll be able to ask questions. So there's going to be a Q&A session. So if you have all those questions, you'll see a Q&A button in your Zoom or your Zoom comments. Just look for Q&A, and once you have questions, just put your your questions in the Q&A box. So don't put your questions in the chat because it's going to get missing. Put it in the Q&A box and we'll be able to answer you. Okay, I think we are done with the housekeeping rules, and we have a lot of people in here. So I'm just going to introduce Wamide to us. Our guest speaker, Wamide Animasham, is currently the VP of Business and Users at Propel. Propel is a startup reshaping community engagement for tech brands. and she's the co-founder of Core STEM, a non-profit supporting early career African women in STEM, and a 5 times career switcher. That deserves a round of applause, please. Let's do it. I can see you, Chiku. Please, we can continue. A 5 times career switcher who now coaches mid senior professionals navigating bold career decisions with 12 plus over 12 years experience across tech, energy, and consulting in Africa and Europe. Omide has held leadership positions at PwC, Jumia, and P Energy. This is a whole lot of stuff. And she was named a She Code Africa Rising Star in 2023 and a finalist in the Global Top 100 Women of the Future in Emerging Tech at a whole lot. Her career newsletter on growth and reaches over 10,000 professionals, of whom I'm actually part of. And this is across 98 countries. So with a resounding round of applause, which you cannot hear, but we can see, let us welcome Wamide Animation. Hi, Wamide.
Hi, thank you for the introduction, Dami. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here, finally.
Hi, Wamide. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Okay, I will just get right into sharing my screen, but in the meantime, can I just have a couple people just tell me what you're hoping to take away from today's session? You've come here and registered for a particular reason, so I'm just curious to understand what exactly you'd like to learn. Okay. I'm just looking to see. You're looking to build a career in tech, to gain knowledge. Okay, let's focus. Thank you. Everything about being a virtual assistant to gain more insight. Okay. That all sounds awesome. I'm basically gonna just talk you through how to reinvent yourself, how you can switch into tech, especially if you haven't started yet, and really how to create a career that makes sense for you. Because in the end, just the same way our faces are different, we're all going to explore different career paths. And I really want you to just focus on you and getting into a career that finally makes sense for you. So, we'll get into it. So whether you are a regular 9 to 5er or you are a student or a fresh grad or even someone who hasn't had any experience, I see some people said they didn't even go to university. Whatever the case is, you're definitely going to learn something here. If you currently have your mic unmuted, I will ask that you please mute it just so that we can get through stuff quickly. Okay, cool. So just like Dami said, I write a newsletter that reaches 10,000 subscribers, and I'm just going to implore and encourage all of you to sign up. I write every week, every Monday. You will get something really solid from me, telling you about how to make even bolder career moves and really how to build and craft a career that is right for you. So if you're interested in creating something just like that, please feel free to subscribe to my newsletter. Beyond that, I like to call myself a creator. I believe that all of us are creators because we're all building and developing something. But I'm also a coach and I still hold a 9 to 5 job. So if you're like me and you hold multiple passions, then just know that there's room for you. And we're going to explore all of that together. So who is getting ready? Who's ready? Okay, so today, just like I said, we're going to cover my 5 times career switch journey. I basically want to just walk you through what I did, how I went through it, why I even did it in the first place. Trust me, I'm not crazy. It just happened. And then we'll go over the 4 pillars of a fulfilling career because I want you to be able to leave here with something that you can act on. It's very easy to come into a space like this, learn, pick things, but I want you to take away something practical. So this is why it is really a practical talk on how to reinvent your own career. Then I'll show you some beginner-friendly entry points in tech, sort of like a crash course on things that you should start concentrating on, and even how to leverage the skills that you already have to figure out what you can do next. And then if you're already working and you're thinking about switching, we'll talk again about how you can switch careers without starting over, and of course, how you can build a sustainable sustainable long-term career. So ready, 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 ready. Let's get right into it. So I started my career 12 years ago, finished uni in 2012, and I took my first job at Jumia. I started as a front-end developer at Jumia. At this point, I had come out of university with a degree in computer engineering. And with that, I knew that I wanted to explore something in tech. And that's exactly what I did. So I applied to mostly roles around development, engineering, and I really liked design. I like branding a lot. So I knew that front-end development was what I was going to explore, and I started in that area. But not so long after, I got bored. And so I was already applying to a couple of other roles and became a management consultant at PwC. I started out in audit, but eventually I moved into consulting, where I basically worked with several companies across various industries to grow their brand, to transform their businesses, and to just build sustainable frameworks. And then, not long after, I took a gap year. It's not visible here, but I took a gap year and went to business school. While I was in business school, I realized that I wanted to do something a bit more hands-on. I wanted to explore more things that I could try with my own hands. I basically wanted to work at a startup. And so instead of going back to consulting or going back to PwC, I decided to go into the startup world. And that's how I become an operations manager at a supply chain company at the time. Right after that, again, I was looking for a new challenge, and then I joined the oil and gas section of the company as a business transformation manager. And after 3 years of like navigating all of that, I decided enough was enough, and I wanted to go back to my first love, tech. So, but I don't code anymore, so it had to be a non-tech role. But essentially, this is now my role as VP Business and Users, and it's really just a fancy name for everything around growth, partnerships, and programs. So this is my journey in a nutshell. I've switched 5 times. I've actually never held the same job title. And just before I turned 30, I had made this last switch as into growth and partnerships. So this is just to say to you, even if you're working somewhere now and you don't see like where it's going to go or what you're going to become from it, that's actually a sign and it's a good thing. You're not confused, you're not lost, you're just figuring stuff out and you definitely get there. So today I'm also here to like walk you through what to start doing with those, emotions and all of those things. There's a certain reason why people feel lost. I'd say that the number one reason why people feel lost in their careers is not necessarily because they're not intelligent enough or because they are not in the right space or they're not working at Google or whatever. It's actually because they lack clarity on certain fundamental questions. So if you ever asked yourself any of these questions, you can just give me a thumbs up in the chat box or something. So if you've ever asked yourself, for example, what career fits me? What should I do with my skills? Who would pay me? If you've ever thought about those kind of things, or you've asked yourself, where do I start? How do I find my first job? How do I find my second job? How do I switch without losing momentum? How do I switch without paying a pay cut, taking a pay cut? How do I switch without starting over? How do I get in? That's also another question you will often have. In this world where there's tons of various opportunities, but sometimes you are applying and applying and applying and you're not getting these jobs, you start to ask yourself and really question yourself to say, do my capabilities really matter? And you're wondering how to stand out and differentiate yourself in this competitive market. So love it. I see that you are all feeling this way as well. So I'll tell you exactly what you should start doing with that emotion. But before I get there, let me tell you the 4 pillars for building a fulfilling career. According to research, we spend 1/3 of our lives at work. It means that if you're spending 1/3 of your entire existence at work, then it's important that you're doing something that you enjoy and something that you love. So essentially, there are 4 key pillars, in my opinion, as to how we should be going about our careers. And I'll walk you through all of them. The first is this: learning. Every fulfilling career, like no matter how you want to put it, it has four key pillars. And understanding this will actually help you make intentional choices about where you are right now and where you need to go. So that feeling, that thing that you're feeling lost, where you're feeling like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, is this where I should be and whatnot, you should be paying attention to that emotion, right? But take that emotion and bring it back. Use this logic and use this framework as you go about your business. The first thing is learning. This is essentially where you're asking yourself if you're growing in this space. Are you acquiring the skills that actually make you valuable? Because you can be going to work, you can be doing things, but you're not keeping yourself relevant. The world is changing so much. So you want to make sure that you are learning in a way that helps you stay relevant in an ever-changing world. The second thing, are you earning? Does your income reflect your effort and your potential? Or at the very least, are you getting your money? Right? Can you support your lifestyle and your future goals? This is what earning is at the end of the day. Every one of us, we want a job that pays, we want a job that helps us sort out our bills, but most importantly, we're working for the future, we're working for our children, we're working for our families. So essentially, you want something that helps you support your life and your future goals. And then the third is the environment. Does your workplace support your well-being, your learning, your growth? Is the culture healthy? Is the leadership team are they respectful? Do they value collaboration? Is your manager helpful? Or is it a toxic space? This is something you need to pay attention to. And then the fourth one is M. That one stands for meaning. Your work should absolutely align with your core values and ultimately contribute to something that's bigger than yourself. So you need to start asking yourself if your work matters to you, or if you're just doing it because you want to, tick off a box or get your paycheck. Do you feel aligned? And are you making a contribution and an impact? The truth is, you may not even have all the four all at the same time, but in every season, you should have at least two and know which one that you are actually optimizing for. So learning, earning, environment, and meaning. So you can just use the framework LIM or something. L for learn, E for earn, E for environment, and M for meaning. It's important that you take note of all these four things as you navigate your career, whether you're in your first stage, your second stage, your third stage, whether you're starting, whether you've already been working, whether you have been there for a long time, 10 years or whatever. These four things are really, really important. So now, let's talk about what you need to prioritize at each stage of your career because everyone here is obviously going to be at a different career stage. So what I would do is just give you some ideas on exactly how you should be navigating your career depending on the stage that you're in. If you're in your early career, say you've spent 0 to 4 years working already, you want to make sure that you are optimizing for learning and your environment. This is your foundation season. So the core thing that you're building at this point is building. Think about it as if you are erecting a house. You're setting the foundation, and that foundation needs to be solid. This is what we mean by building. This is where you want to ensure that you're learning. You're learning fast. You're taking all the skills in. You're building transferable skills that help you go from here to there. So experiment boldly, try different paths. Don't, keep yourself stuck. This is not the point where you should be so much worried about specializing, so to say, because it's only in trying things out that you will get clearer about what you want or don't want to do. So try different paths, try projects, try volunteering, try side hustles, do all of these things. When I was in my early career, I volunteered a lot with a lot of female organizations. Anything that has to do with female empowerment and leadership, that was my jam. I would never have thought that eventually a nonprofit was going to come out of it. So that's what we mean by experimenting boldly, right? It might not be perfect, but just do what you can. It might not even make sense. But at the point, you're really just remember when you're in your early career, you're experimenting, right? So just learn, understand how to work in teams, focus on being around experienced professionals. That's what I mean by environment. So in this environment, you want to make sure that it's an environment that allows you to grow. The environment allows you to grow. This is somewhere you can absorb knowledge from experienced people. In your early career, you should not be the most senior person on the team because this is the point where you should be learning. So, zero, you're starting out, you're just getting in, make sure that you're absorbing knowledge from experienced professionals. If I'm being honest, this is exactly why I switched from that front-end engineering role to moving into a management consulting role. Because my 3 years in management consulting was almost like a 10-year career. You're thrown into the deep end and you get to do a lot of things. So you want to optimize for roles that actually allow you to absorb knowledge. Cool? Okay. So my mid-career people, you've been working for a bit, you've spent, let's say, 5 to 8 years, or even 10 years in your career. There are three things you need to be optimizing for at this point. Learning. There are three things you need to be optimizing for at this point. Learning, earning, and meaning. This is where you start to refine your strengths. You want to position yourself for global opportunities. And for many people, they even get access to these global opportunities way in their early careers. So you should be earning well at this stage and doing work that actually feels meaningful for you while you continue to develop your expertise, right? This is what your mid-career stage is. It's almost like you're erecting the walls for your career. Just that building that I talked about. At this point, you've refined your strengths, so you have the walls, they're all set up, your foundation is solid, your foundation is set. It might not be entirely clear, you might not even know exactly what is going to come out of it, but that's fine. This is the point where you do a lot of excellent work. This is the point where you continue to build a lot of solid relationships. This is the point where you start to position yourself for opportunities. And I'm not just talking about opportunities as in working as a global company, but also opportunities in terms of yourself being on several stages and really contributing on a global scale. And then if you're in your senior career, the core thing you want to focus on here is prioritizing meaning, earning, and your environment. So this is the stage where clarity and alignment matter so much more. When I was in oil and gas, I didn't have a remote job and I was starting a young family and I realized it just was not aligned with the kind of flexibility that I needed to be there for my family. This is what we mean by alignment. So I decided to switch into tech because I knew tech was going to offer me flexibility and agency to do the things that I wanted to do. So you should be doing work that actually compounds you, not work that drains you. You should be doing work that supports your lifestyle. So this is also why being in an environment that supports your lifestyle is equally important. And that earning is important because obviously you're working for a certain reason. You want to make sure that you're earning enough money to meet those goals and that you're creating meaning. That's what we mean by alignment on the inside of you. So I hope this has been helpful. Hope this has been helpful for you. Cool. Okay, so now that we're clear on what you need to be prioritizing at all of these different stages, if you're in your early career, your learning and your environment is what you really, really, really need to focus on more than anything. Make sure you're in a place that allows you to learn, right? This is your foundation season and do great work. The mid-career, the same thing here. Yes, you're learning, but you also want to make sure that you are earning and you have meaning in the work that you do. And then in your senior career, it's super important that you are earning, you find meaning in your work and that you're in an environment that actually supports this growth. So with that, I think you all get a sense of what a solid and fulfilling career should look like. So we're going to bounce into what the beginner-friendly entry points into tech look like. First, I will start off with dispelling the myth that you need to code to work in tech. I haven't written a line of code since what, 2013, 2014-ish, and I'm still working in tech. You don't need to code to work in tech. I'm sure a lot of people already know this. But when we talk about having a tech career, we're not necessarily asking that you become a software engineer. Tech is merely an industry. Tech is merely an enabler. So you don't need to code to work in tech. I hope that gives somebody comfort. Like, I don't need to go and study so and so or go for a career in this. The most important thing here that is needed is you. You're the one that we need. The most important thing that we need here is you. And when I say you, it's really what can you do? And how can you tap into the skills that you already have? So let me share a couple of examples of the opportunities that we currently have for every skill set and for every personality type. There are product and strategy roles. So with products, you're basically building something. Sometimes it's software, sometimes it could be a hardware, but you're taking an idea and you're bringing it to reality. And some entry-level roles here, product management, you could be a product owner, you could be product operations, you could be a product analyst, you could even be a or an agile assistant, right? There's so many things that you can do here. The other role that you can explore that is non-coding is people and customer roles. There's some people here that are great connectors and networkers. There are ways that you can transform those skill sets into some of these roles. You could be a customer success manager, you could be a technical support associate, you could be a client relationship manager, you could be an onboarding specialist, you could be a customer experience analyst, you could be a community manager, you could even be a developer advocate. This is you taking the skills that you already have and just using it to do something in tech. And there are also analytical roles where you want to take something so big and try to like break it down in a way that helps other people achieve their goals. So these are usually analytical roles. Sometimes it looks like data, or let's even just say businessy. So you could be a business analyst, you could be an operations analyst, you could be a project coordinator, you could be a project manager, you could be a program coordinator, where you're managing things from start to finish. So I will not go into the specifics of all of these roles, but I assure you, as I'm talking, if there's anyone that catches your fancy, I assure you that you can simply go to Google or ChatGPT and actually ask questions about what it means to be ABC. So, what does it mean to be a business analyst? What does it mean to be an operations analyst? What does it mean to be a technical support associate? If there's anyone that tickles your fancy, that's exactly what you should do with that feeling. When I was in my final year in university, I was talking to a friend and we were asking ourselves what exactly we were going to do outside of here. And I said I wanted to do consulting. I said I wanted to do consulting. I had no idea what exactly consulting entailed. But in that moment, I knew that I was going to explore something that had to do with consulting. In 2 years, I was a PWC. So if there's anything that catches your fancy here, if there's anything that like just drops a nudge in your heart, in your spirit, I want you to take note of that and go Google it and find out. Your work is not going to land on you. You're going to have to do some work. Everybody here, you've had a meal today, most likely. That meal did not magically appear. I believe someone somewhere took their time to prepare that meal and make it happen. This is the same way I want you to approach your career. It's not going to magically land on you. You're going to take your time and go prepare it, right? They're rough ingredients. Sometimes that's you at this stage. You don't know everything just yet, but you're going to put it all together. You're going to mix it in the right proportions, in the right this, in the right that, and eventually it'll become a sumptuous meal. Cool? So let's see. There are a couple more roles, and I assure you, it's really not as hard as it looks. Again, if there's anyone that sounds interesting to you, one, two, three, Google it. That's all you need to do. So let's look at some data and analytics roles. Excuse me. You could be a data analyst, an entry-level data analyst. So you love to analyze tons of data sets, or you're keen to help people make sense of insights from data. This is something you should definitely explore. Business intelligence is also a great space. You could be a data operations associate. You could even be a reporting analyst or an insight associate. I really assure you, there's a place for you, there's a place for all of your skills. There are also growth, sales, and marketing roles. Um, you could be an SDR, which is basically a sales development representative. You could be a partnerships associate. You could be a growth associate. You could be a digital marketing associate. You could be an account executive. You could be in revenue operations. There's so many parts. And if you're like more creative and more into writing like me, you can explore being a UI UX designer. For the early part of my career, it was largely front-end development and branding. You could be a UX research assistant, you could be a content strategist, you could even be a technical writer. where you help make sense of complex technologies and break it down in ways that people quickly understand. You could even be a documentation writer or an instructional designer. Again, there's so many ways that you can explore this, right? And of course, if you're still looking to code, there's room for you as well. So you could explore the QA space, you can explore the cloud DevOps and infrastructure space, or you could explore the software engineering and web development. So you could start off as a front-end developer, a back-end developer, full stack, Android, iOS, and whatnot. Or if you're looking at cloud, it could be infrastructure support or becoming an SRE. And then if it's more around, I want to ensure that before this thing gets into the hands of users, that we've tested and we make sure that everything is fine, then you could explore becoming a software test analyst, a QA tester, an IT support associate, a technical support engineer. All of these things, all of these are skills that are needed in tech today, yesterday, and always. So there is a place for all of your skills. There's a place for every single person here. You now just need to go a little deeper and do something about it. Okay? Cool. So, with all of that in mind, I will just say that if you're new and say you haven't even explored any of these things yet, I know you might feel like, oh my God, where do I start? What do I do? My advice to you is this: start with the roles that require more people skills and thinking skills, because everybody can think and everybody can talk. So start with some of those roles, and naturally, you would know what you need to start gravitating towards. Remember that we said you're going to need to try things out, and clarity comes from doing. So there is no role that is going to magically drop on you, but I assure you that if you commit yourself to a number of days or time, you can actually land some of these roles. You can learn some of these roles and you can land opportunities in tech. Cool? Okay. So now we know that we need to have a certain foundation for a fulfilling career. We also know that there are tons and tons and tons of roles in tech. We know that we don't have to code to be in tech. We know that there are many other ways and many other pathways for us to explore in tech. And we know that there are opportunities out there. But what about the people who have already started something completely different? May not even seem like it is in tech, and you are exploring switching your career. Remember, I came from a career in oil and gas. Before that, I was in supply chain. And before that, I was in consulting. And before that, well, not necessarily before that, I had an MBA. So I'm not your typical techie. I'm essentially a non-tech in tech. But by the time I decided what I wanted to do next, it was simple. I want to be able to switch into tech, because tech will give me the flexibility and the agency. So I'll share with you exactly how you should go about switching your career. But first, let's talk about the real barrier when it comes to switching careers. Is anybody trying to switch their career, and is there a barrier in mind that you have? As much as possible, I'm just going to ask all of you to please focus here. I see all the chats about your group and all of those. Let's try to keep that away from the conversation now and just focus on this conversation for now. So, is there anyone at all that is trying to switch careers? Anyone at all? Good, peace. I see like a lot of people as well. Cool, cool, cool. So, what are the challenges that you have when it comes to switching your career? Good. Fantastic. 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 So just like you said, it's not lack of skill that's the problem here. There are two things I don't know, like confusion about the direction. I don't know what to choose, what my strengths, what to begin. And the second thing is this: mindset blocks. Your concerns are valid. Everything that you said is valid. Yes, I don't have enough support. Yes, I don't have this. I don't. But these are really just what we call mindset blocks. You don't need to have everything figured out. You are not dull. You're not too old. It's not too late. Whether you have the right background or you don't have the right background, it does not matter in the grand scheme of things. You don't always have to start over. You don't have to take a pay cut all the time. And there's some people that will say, like, I don't have time to learn, or I don't know what my parents will say, or this or that. I assure you, at the end of the day, your career move is yours to make. At the end of the day, your career move is yours to make. I said a lot of things in this conversation, but if there's anything that I want you to take away, it is this. Your career move is what yours to make, and you can make your work count. I had a client once who was, she also had like a background like me. She was in audit, she had moved to consulting because she thought that's what she wanted to do. But when she finally got in, she was not enjoying it. But she didn't know what to do. What she really wanted to do was to explore writing and taking care of kids, not necessarily as a teacher, but in just contributing to their development, their well-being, and things like that. But she didn't know what her parents would say. She didn't know what to do. And we found all sorts of options. She took time off work. She did all of these things. But guess what? Until she actually did something about it, nothing changed. Today, she's published a book. She started a lifestyle business. She started working with kids like she wanted, and she's happier than ever. She's so, so, so happy. And all those concerns that she had about like what her parents will say, what they will think of her, she's gotten over all of those. So if you're like her and you're still sitting on the fence, my suggestion to you today is to start. But it might feel like, okay, where do I start? Where do I start? So let's just start with saying this and reminding ourselves, say after me, I am not behind. I'm on time for my career and I know what to do. I'm not behind. I'm on time for my career and I know what to do. Because the moment you start reframing your mind to changing the signals that it's telling you, you start to see things differently. You start to see opportunities around you. You start to see the things that you thought were not available to being available. You start to not approach the conversation with your parents as something that you can't have. You're an adult, so you can have conversations with them. And that's what they would love. But let's even say you cannot. I assure you, you need to start saying these things to yourself to change the mindset. So remind yourself that you're not behind, you are on time for your career. So, how exactly do you switch without losing progress? How do you start? What do you do? How do you overcome all of these things? Let's get practical. First, start with your why. I've shared over and over that I left a job in oil and gas that was paying me well to go for a job in tech that paid me the exact same thing. But what did he offer me? This job on this side offered me freedom and agency. I could work remotely, so I didn't have to do a commute any longer. That was more than enough for me at the time. So start with your why. Be clear on exactly why you want to consider a switch. So someone said, for example, I want to move from front-end engineering to this. I want to, I'm currently in food and I want to move into tech. Why? It shouldn't be because of fear of missing out. That's the number one thing I have to tell you. There's money in it, yes, but there's money in other places as well if you know what to do in there. They're millionaire farmers, billionaire farmers. Dangote is not in tech, but his name is very well known, isn't he? So be clear about your why. Is it more growth? Is it freedom? Is it alignment? Just name it. Be very clear about why you want to switch into tech or switch into any other field for that matter. Second thing you have to do is a SWOT analysis. If you've never heard about a SWOT analysis, I have a template that I'll share with you that you can download and use. Do a skills audit. Map out your core skills, identify your transferable skills. You're not going to suddenly figure out your transferable skills. Somebody said as well, I don't know what my transferable skills are. You need to dig deeper. You need to do a SWOT analysis and figure out where your natural strengths lie, figure out the things that you've done, your past achievements and projects, and be confident in the things that you've already done. The other thing I'll add here is please don't undermine any past experience that you have. Somebody that is sitting at the front desk today can very well be an amazing product manager tomorrow if they know how to position themselves properly. And that brings us to the third thing, targeting strategic roles. So based on your skill set, you want to ensure that you're positioning in a way that already leverages your existing capabilities. Because at the end of the day, every one of us, we want to make sure that we are providing value or that whatever we are getting, we are we're getting value for the things that we have offered. I always give this example of how nobody here will suddenly go and give their car to a mechanic that just started learning. If your car is broken down, do you see what I mean? So that's exactly how it is for employers as well. You have to have shown yourself. Why are you going to your mechanic today? Somebody referred you to them, or you've seen them work, or you've heard that they are good. That's how you should start thinking about these things as well. Who knows you? If they don't know you enough, let's go to the fourth thing, which is really building tangible proof. How can you find small projects around that can demonstrate your, growing expertise? You can even reach out to people and offer yourself to build for them. The moment I knew I couldn't do front end and that I didn't want to be involved in all this back and forth was when I tried to build something outside of the office. At work, everything was going fine. And then this time I said, okay, I was going to help somebody build their e-commerce website. It stressed my life. And I just decided this was not for me. For some other people, this will stress them, but they will still go after it. Do you get? So this is where building is important. Once you start doing things, you would know how to position, how to send yourself, how to do things, how to sell yourself as well. And remember that I said you need to do a SWOT analysis. If you've done a SWOT analysis, one of the things you will figure out is where exactly your gaps are. So this is where you need to start plugging your gaps. Do you want to build a personal development plan? Doesn't even have to be a full course, but are there ways that you can improve the skills that you currently have so you can make more room for yourself, right? Because that's important. And then the final thing when it comes to switching careers without losing your progress is to act. That looks like applying for roles, that looks like positioning yourself. But one key thing is to leverage your network. There's no man that is an island, and there's nobody that exists today that hasn't come from a network of people. And I know it might seem like, oh, around me, the people around are not necessarily for me, or the people around are not into what I want to do. Step out of that and go and find and build your own network that will get you to where you want to be. Do these things with courage, do it afraid. Learn from the people around you. Look at the things that exist. That's what we mean by act. So come out of tutorial hell. If you're learning, but you're not doing, you need to start acting. For some other people, it might look like applying for a job. You fix your resume, apply. It might look like going for more events and putting yourself out there. You need to start doing these things, using industry-specific languages to communicate your value. These are all important elements when it comes to switching your career. So feel free to take a screenshot of this so you can like go back to it later and remind yourself of the things that you need to do. Remember, start with your why, do a SWOT analysis because you want to ensure what exactly is it that I have and what is the gap. Target strategic roles. Start looking at the things that exist out there and ask yourself, can I do it? If there are areas that you cannot do, that already tells you the places that you need to plug. That naturally tells you, I need to build tangible proof in this area. I need to plug this gap, right? And then start acting. If it is a development plan that you need to work on, do it. If it is a job application that you need to do, do it. If it is an event that you need to go to, do it. If it is somebody that you need to tell, we have an amazing network around us. Don't underestimate your network. You don't know who is behind so and so and so person. So leverage your network as well. Now, I can't go into all the deep elements of what it means here, but I will share two core things around using a SWOT for your career change and also how to reframe your skills. First one around a personal SWOT analysis. So if you're looking for this, just go to rebrand.ly/pswot. It's a paid resource because here's the thing you also have to start doing. You have to commit to your own growth. You always have to commit to your own growth. So a personal SWOT analysis will actually help you understand what it is that you are already naturally good at, but it will help you understand yourself clearly so that your career path can actually emerge naturally. My core strength is that I'm an organizer. I bring clarity into chaos. I'm also a strong communicator. So naturally, I started looking for opportunities that allow me to do what? To build, to prefer solutions to problems, and to speak. This is why an opportunity like this is interesting to me. This is why knowledge sharing sessions at work, I will make myself available for those. So a personal SWOT analysis will always help you understand yourself better. You'll find out your strengths, the things that you excel at naturally. You'll find out your weaknesses. And this is not a bad thing at all. This is just really an area that is requiring more development or support. You'll find out the opportunities, the trends, the openings, the things that are around that you need to start figuring out how to leverage. There's a lot of fanfare about AI now. That's an opportunity. But there's also tons of other opportunities. And then there's threats as well, the challenges that you might need to anticipate. Now, you might not know exactly how to navigate all of this. So, this is why I've created a workbook with 40 deep reflective prompts that actually allow you to think about these things. When you see these questions, you will know exactly what to answer, and it will guide you to figure out where you need to go next. There's also a mapping section in there. So you can start to say, okay, I have this strength, I have this opportunity. What do I do with it? So you can map and spot those patterns together, right? So when you understand yourself clearly, your career path will just become much easier. The second part I wanted to dig deeper into is on reframing your skills, which I like to call like strength-led career pathing. So for someone that is wondering, what do I do with all of these things? Let's say you have done your SWOT and you found out that you're a great communicator like me. The kind of roles you should consider: customer success, partnerships. I love building win-win partnerships all the time. This is a good chunk of my role. Community management. I have a non-profit and a community of mine. So you see, when you have strong communication skills, these are the things you want to consider because your ability to connect, to explain, to build relationships, they all translate into something. And client-facing roles, you will excel at it. If on the other hand, you're analytical, this is not to say like you only have communication strengths or you are not analytical. You can actually have everything, but you can just decide this is one area I'm going to focus on. So let's say you have analytical strengths. You want to consider roles in data analysis, business intelligence, product operations, strategy, because that your talent for patterns, for problem solving, they all align with data-driven positions. You see, like sometimes it's not as hard as we think it is, right? Now, let's go to creative strengths. If you are in the creative space and you are really wondering what to do with all of the skills that you have, you're the one that you can draw anything, you can put anything together, they need you here. When I was growing up, I once had this fine arts project where we were supposed to build a house or whatever. I could not do jack. I could not even build a three-dimensional, I could not do anything with it. So I already knew that, you see, all these building things, especially with my hands, it is not my zone. But if you, on the other hand, you can build things and mold and put them together, please, that innovation and aesthetic sensibility, we need it in the design space. And if you're organizational like me, I've had a whole career in project management. I have a PMP, which is the Project Management Professional Certificate. So these are things that you can leverage. Your ability to structure, to plan, to execute, they make you valuable in the workplace. Check out operations roles, program management, project management. That is how you reposition the skills that you have and turn them into a sustainable career. So now that we've talked through all of this, and I see that time is fast spent, let's get into how to position for global opportunities. The truth is that your geography doesn't limit you. It's your positioning and your mind that does. To be fair, there's quite a lot of infrastructure that we don't currently have that can potentially limit the way that we do things. But ultimately, remember what I said earlier about combating mindset and limiting beliefs. You have to remember that there are people who have succeeded against all odds. Yes, they may have had more opportunities and whatnot, but it's just a reminder that your geography does not limit you. So if you're currently looking for like more global visibility, optimize your LinkedIn profile. Anyone from around the world can see it. Use keywords, show your achievements, use the STAR method, STAR, and ensure your headline is communicating the value that you can offer. Build a digital footprint as well. Contribute meaningfully to discussions. Share insights, right? Whether it's LinkedIn that you decide to focus on Instagram or whatever, do that. Document your wins. It's important that you're taking note of the things that people are saying to you. If you're in a workplace or you're in an environment where they say, well done, good work, whether it is a volunteer project or a little thing or not, just maintain a public record of all of these things, the problems you've solved, the projects you completed, all the value that you've delivered. It will come in handy. And on days where you don't feel like you know anything, this is what you will go and do. You will go back and remind yourself that you are all that. You should also be part of global communities. Really, one of the biggest career hacks that I have for anybody is you should not do it alone. You should join communities. You should participate and be part of a network that helps you go from 0 to 100. There could be Slack groups, there could be Discord groups, there could be Telegram channels. And if you're not sure where to start, just check out app.propel.community. They have a host of communities for different specializations. So you will always find somewhere for yourself. And once you start like doing all of these things, start learning interview patterns, start practicing before you even need it. Start before you are ready. Study questions, assessment techniques, practice. The same way we practice in school, in secondary school, and did all of those things for our exams, you have to practice for interviews as well and continually showcase your value. So if you're really, really ready to position for global opportunities, I have a 90-day challenge for you, or you can run this challenge till the end of the year, where you just commit to certain positioning activities for 90 days. If your LinkedIn is not up to date, go and do that. If something is not yet on track, make sure you go and sort it out. If you haven't joined a community, make sure you're part of one. Do you get, so that you can really start ticking off the things that are necessary for you. Now, with all of that in mind, there are some non-negotiable soft skills that will keep you relevant in the workplace and really help you to make your work count. First one is ownership. You want to make sure that you are approaching obstacles systematically, no matter what career you have, whether you're a data analyst or a software engineer, you're always going to be solving problems. But the most important thing here is everybody wants somebody that they can rely on. We all have that tailor that you would give your clothes to, and that is never going to come back to you in the day that you want. Many times you even have to lie to them that your event is next week so that they can deliver. You don't want to be that person. That's not ownership. So approach obstacles systematically and always develop solutions for them. And then communication. You should be able to articulate your ideas. There's written communication, verbal communication. The most important thing here is you're working with people continually. So get comfortable with collaborating effectively across teams. Learn, always learn. You don't have to wait for your employer to provide those things for you, please. Embrace curiosity as much as possible and seek feedback. And then, please, adaptability. In a world that is ever changing, the most important thing you can give yourself is the ability to remain resilient through organizational transformations, industry shifts, and all of that. That's another way you make yourself relevant and helpful in the workplace. So with that, you can finally ask me any question. I've gone through as many as I can, and happy to answer all of the questions that you have, as many as I can. Thank you.
I know others can't clap, but I can clap. Thank you so much for Mide. I think this is so helpful. I have a note here and it's completely full. And I'm certain that that's the same for everyone. Thank you so much for Mide. Is this, I was thinking that we had the question and answer section, and we wanted to make sure that we were answering those questions. But I was looking through now and I see that at least like the first 6 questions, you've already answered them. So that's really cool. Thank you so much, Wamide. There's so much that we've learned today. I was just looking at what you were saying about how to switch careers, how to start with a why, do a SWOT analysis, just so many things. Act, apply, position yourself. And I'm certain that, everyone here has learned one thing or the other. We were actually at capacity with the webinar. We had like 1,000 participants. A lot of people were coming and going. So that's really good. So we have 5 minutes for Q&A. I will try as much as possible to take as many questions as we can. For some questions that have already been answered, I'm not going to go over that again. I'll just go straight into extrovert. So I'm reading this from John. John says, "Hi, Wamide. I've been working as a full stack developer for a while, and even though I'm confident in my skills and genuinely enjoy building, I have struggled to convert that into real opportunities, internships, junior roles, or anything like that. I've completed some projects and taken courses to strengthen my foundation, but I'm still unsure whether my challenge is positioning, portfolio quality, or how I approach companies. From your experience, what practical steps can someone at my stage take to increase visibility and start getting consistent callbacks?"
Okay, so let's start off with like, do you even have any community that you're a part of at the moment? If you're not, then you probably want to approach that first. Be part of someone that can give you some feedback about your work. And then secondly, start exploring building publicly. So do you want to take a project, reframe it? And when I say public, it's not necessarily because you want like 10 likes or 100 likes. That's not what I'm saying here. But do this for you. Can you commit to a 30-day of I would reframe this challenge? Because at the end of the day, we want a front-end developer that can deliver work, right? Go find a Figma design somewhere. Try to see if you can replicate that design on your own. Use it to build your own skills accordingly. And then the third I would say is please ask for feedback. I'm not sure what recruiters are saying to you. I'm not sure exactly what the gaps might be, but you want to ask for feedback so you understand exactly what you need to adjust as you go on and as you go ahead. But please surround yourself with people. Find your own people, find your own community, so people can give you feedback and so they can also send opportunities your way. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure that's very helpful for John. John, thank you so much. I see that some people have their hands raised. We're not going to be taking questions verbally, so just type your question in the Q&A box and then we'll try to answer them. So this person says, you spoke extensively on people who are already in their career paths, but this is a student. I know we have a lot of students here. They're asking how about students who haven't kicked off their careers yet?
If you haven't kicked off your career yet, that's also fine. Start exploring what you're really like leaning towards. When I was in uni, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do with my life. And it was more confusing for me because I graduated with a first class. So even while I was in those classes, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with it. But coding was the hardest thing for me, which was weird for someone studying computer engineering. But what I did was I just started to pay more attention to the things that I enjoyed. I loved my robotics class. I loved project management. So I paid attention to the things that I started to enjoy. And so when opportunities came, I basically then, put myself into it. And when you're coming out, you want to explore the path that is, should I say, easiest in quotes. I already studied computer engineering. I already did a project in web development. So naturally, it was easier to get a first job as a front-end engineer. And that's pretty much what I applied to. In fact, I didn't think there was anything else, to be honest. So, but I was just applying. And once I started, I was like, okay, this seems a bit boring. I don't want to do it. No offense to any front-end engineers, but yeah, for me, I was just not feeling it. So
Yeah,
if
I
you're
know we
feeling
have
it,
a few
just do
front-end
stuff.
engineers here, so I'm sure they're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. Don't worry, speaking is boring for I do have an engineer friend and
A lot of
speaking
people.
is boring for him, so I get it.
Agreed. Okay, thank you so much for that answer. This person is asking an actual, this is a question that lots of people have. They say that one thing I find difficult about switching careers is that I've already built a brand with my current skills. So how do I switch without confusing my audience?
Are you concerned about your audience or your happiness? Look, in the end, you have to do what matters to you, but don't be in a hurry because even with switching, it takes time, right? It's kind of like trying to revive something that like if you put too much salt into food or something, right? It's going to take some time before you're able to figure out how to manage it. So it's kind of like that. Just do you want to start somewhere else, first of all? Again, I don't have the entire context, but there's probably two or three things you could do. Explore something else without trying to build on that particular brand. So that, the confusion of confusing your audience doesn't stop you or inhibit you. But if this is really, really something you want to do, then try it out by all means. So just like start somewhere fresh, so you don't confuse your audience. Another thing you can certainly explore is examples. Find anybody else that has done this. I think in this age and time, we're all finally realizing that we're quite multi-passionate. But also you don't have to appear on every single platform as the same thing. I know someone who on LinkedIn, she's a technical writer. On Instagram, she's a travel creator. On Twitter, she's about money. So you can decide that you want to show up differently on different platforms. Who says you have to be that person on Instagram? What if you chose a different platform to showcase this other side of you? You're multi-passionate. Like your eye is different from your mouth. So it's fine if you have other interests as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer, Wamide. And this person is asking, how can I function in an environment that doesn't align with me growing my skills? I'm currently in uni and I hardly have time to take steps for my future because of the lack of resources and basic knowledge.
Okay, I don't know. There's a lot of conflict in that question. In the sense that if you're in uni and you think that it is not, so is it uni that is not giving you um the growth that you need, or is it where you're working? That's what I don't quite get. But if it is in uni, I think the world is a global village now. There's tons of things that you can learn online and learn for yourself, right? I know people who are self-taught developers. I know people who are self-taught in several other areas. So there's almost nothing you can do with the environment that you have. There's only two things. You either find the answer for yourself or find somebody who has already gotten it, or you get out. Those are the practical things that you can do. So if you're in an environment, you're not stuck there, you're not a tree, you can leave. I'm not asking you to drop out of school, oh. So please finish school if that's the case. But ultimately, know that you can find your knowledge elsewhere. It's not a big deal.
Okay, all right, thank you so much for that. I know that we're at time, but we have so many questions, so we're going to take just a little bit more so that we're answering their questions. Just before we jump into that, I wanted to share a few things. If you didn't join us early enough, this webinar is brought to you by TS Academy. If you want to check us out, check TS Academy online on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, any platform actually. And one of the things that we're trying to do is to make tech and digital skills accessible. I was looking at one of these list of career and career paths, and I'm happy to say that almost every single thing that Wamdi talked about is represented at TS Academy. So she said product and strategy, she said people and customer, she said analytical roles, we have project management, and we have such like our project management track is one of like the best tracks ever. We have data and analytics, we have growth, sales and marketing, we have creative and content. So like there's all these roles that Wambi has talked about. You can actually find like a course that helps you, that guides you towards that. So one thing that you need to do is go to TS Academy online.com and go look for like Wambi said, she said, search online, try to find a skill that actually works for you if you do your research. The cool thing that we've done is that there's a brochure, so you know every single thing that you learn. Somebody had asked something about being a GRC analyst, and we actually do have that in our cybersecurity program also. So all you really need to do is actually search. The cool thing about TS Academy is that we have tuition scholarships, 100% tuition free. So it means that you can actually get started without having to pay the cost of tuition. We have courses that range from 250K to about almost 450,000 naira. But right now, our scholarships are on and it's 100% tuition free. So you want to make sure that you are actually taking advantage of that opportunity. I know some of you here have actually applied, to our scholarship. If you want to do that again, you actually can. We have a new cohort starting in January, and that kind of helps you to be able to get started. Wamide said act, she said position, she said apply. And this is one of the ways to do that. Okay, I just wanted to chip that in before we continue because we do have quite a few questions. Okay, so here this person is saying, my question is simple. For someone who has no degree, no qualification, yet to apply for jobs, what advice would you give them to grow in tech? And how can such person be employed to build themselves?
You don't have any qualifications or anything just yet. Just start with what you have. I didn't have any qualification when I started my career as well. All I had was my degree and just the inner conviction that I could do something and that I could be part of something. So if you don't have, I don't even advise that you start off with certifications. Here's the thing. I started writing certifications really early. I was almost going to have a career in networking. So I started writing networking certifications as far back as 200 level. I did a 5-year course. But when I went for my IT, I realized that I didn't want to be carrying routers and switches. I wanted to be executive. And this is exactly what I'm doing now. So essentially, if you don't have any certifications, don't that's not a thing to hold you back. Focus more on building the skills that you have. Can you write code? Can you build dashboards? Create opportunities for this project instead. Just the
All right.
same way you're not going to apply. Like imagine if somebody came to you and said, "Oh, I'm a certified baker," but you've never seen anything that they've baked. You're not going to ask them to bake anything for you. Proof is what you need here. So don't let the lack of that be something that holds you back. It's not a barrier at all.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Wendy. I think so. A lot of people are asking for the SWOT analysis, the link to the SWOT analysis. And I think that was rebrand.ly/p SWOT. Okay. I think I'll get somewhere to put it in the chat so that everyone can just click on that. Somebody put it in the chat right now and you'll be able to click on it to find it. All right. We have some specific questions here, and I think I'll just take one of them, but there are quite a lot. This person says, can someone who loves to organize, collaborate, and lead people be a product designer?
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Oh, okay, she's hanging.
Or just switch to product management, or still use the skills and become a UX researcher? Take it again.
Sorry, damn it, I lost you for a little bit. Can you say that again?
Emily, did you get that?
No, I didn't.
No problem. Can someone who loves to organize, collaborate, and lead people be a product designer, or just switch to product management, or muted?
Okay. So can they be a product designer? Can they be a product manager?
Can you switch to product management or UX researcher?
Honestly, it's all on you. But let's say that you wanted to start off. I think the way I would rank it is probably project management first of all, and then next would be UX research, and then third would be product design. But the truth is this. All of those skills are very interrelated and interconnected. That even if all you did was, I don't know, take a course on Udemy or something just to learn more about it, you will be better off in whatever field you decide to go for. So I currently collaborate with designers at work, and the core thing that I want to make sure is that my designer has thought through the user journey, which comes out of user research. So that's what I mean by even if you don't eventually, like, you wouldn't know which one you want to do until you actually start, to be honest. But even if you have learned this or that, I assure you that all of those skills will come in together and come in handy for you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think that is helpful. And I think that we can all just take a cue from that. Everyone who's asking specific questions, you can also take a cue from that. There's another question about something that you shared, which is the community, the Propel community. So can you just share that again so that people can go check it out?
Okay, so that's app.propel.community. I'll also put the links, but the chat is buzzing so much that
It
the messages just get lost in there. Okay.
It wasn't, but I'm just putting it in the chat right now. I think you guys can try to catch it before it disappears. But it's app.propel.community. Okay, I'm asking this question because I've gotten quite a few, and people are asking how to optimize their LinkedIn. And I know that there's a whole lot, but if you can just give them like a general overview, it would help.
I think the best way to go about it is you really just ask yourself, like, who do I want to showcase? Like, who exactly do I want to attract? Or how do I want to look to this? So do you want to come off as someone who knows their onions? The final maybe thing to say, or one core thing that you shouldn't bother trying to do is put aspiring inside. Well, aspiring at the end of the day. So don't put any aspiring junior designer, aspiring, because in the end, again, remember that mechanic thing. You're not looking for an aspiring mechanic. You're not looking for an aspiring baker. You're looking for a baker. It is now the price point that helps you determine, can I afford this person? Can I stick to this person? Or maybe their customer skill set and things like that. So in essence, when you're optimizing your LinkedIn, you want to start off with, what am I trying to do with it? I want to attract recruiters. I want to show my leadership capabilities. Whatever that looks like should be top and center for you. And then create a rhythm. So this year I started showing up more on LinkedIn, and it has actually been very good, right? So create a rhythm for yourself. Does that look like, I want to showcase my work? So for example, if you're the one that's trying to build case for your work, you want to explore showcasing something. So it could be like every Friday, I'm going to make sure that I post something that I've done, or every Wednesday. So create some sort of rhythm for it. And honestly, connect with people and have fun with it. Connect genuinely with people. There's amazing people I've met online that I've never even met in person. LinkedIn is one of those places where I've met them. So connect genuinely with people, because you're never really sure where it will go. But in terms of the specifics, what to do and whatever, check out Rennie, I think Rennie Oded Hoimbo, resource from Rennie. I'll send all of these things to the TS Academy team. But just send that check it out. I think it's on YouTube. She has a resource on how you can optimize your LinkedIn, and that should be helpful for you. It sounds like I'm going to need to be bringing a resource packet.
I know, but yeah, I think that what you said is helpful. And we'll also do what we'll just put together a lot of all these resources and we'll share with everyone. So you'll all be able to, just see these resources and be able to search for them. Thank you so much. This person says we're going to take like 2 to 3 more questions and then we'll wrap up. This person says, I find it hard to be consistent, but I'm very good in communicating with people. And I do pull crowds quite often. How do I leverage that? Now, that's this person's question, but I know that consistency is a problem across board for a lot of people. Even it doesn't really matter what their skills are. So I don't know if you can just talk about just actually being consistent in your career and in your growth also.
Okay. Consistency goes hand in hand with ownership, right? And that's essentially you being self-led to do certain things. But the ultimate thing when it comes to consistency is people sometimes mistake it with intensity. It's not how many, it's how often over a period of time. You're better off, for example, doing something twice a week for the entire year than doing it 4 times a week for only 1 month. Even if you try to calculate it, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you did it twice alone, you would have done it 104 times. But if you only did it 4 times in 1 month, you would have only done it 16 times. So your system is the other way around. You want to build something that you can sustain. Consistency over intensity. Build something that you can maintain is the goal here. So your system for consistency is going to come from, what can I achieve? Or first, start with a compass goal. I'm actually writing about this tomorrow. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see a note about it. Start with, look, this is what I'm trying to do, a compass goal. And then next, you want to get into breaking it down into clear terms. For example, this year I said I only read 2 books last year. And I told myself I needed to read at least 1 book every month this year. I've done it now and I realized I can't actually read 1 book every month with everything going on. So next year, I'm going to need to readjust that goal. But I've actually read 6 books already. And that is better than reading 2 books from last year. So consistency is also something that you adjust. It's not like you do it and then you beat yourself up. No, there'll be days you'll fall off. There'll be days you don't achieve it. But the key is to get back up again. Remember, 104 times is better than 16 times. So consistency over intensity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Wamide. And I think that we're at time. I apologize because we have so many more questions. So here's what we'll do. We're going to send all the resources that we can to everyone. The recording of this webinar is also going to be sent to you. So if you signed up, we had a lot of people in the waiting room, so we understand that some people couldn't even like join at some point. So no problem, you're going to see the recording of the webinar. We're going to send you all the resources, and you can follow Wamide on LinkedIn. That's Wamide A on LinkedIn. She also shared her Instagram and her Twitter, I think. And Wamide has a newsletter. And we talked about this earlier. I am a reader of the newsletter. I love it. You can find it on Substack. Wamide, where else can people subscribe to your newsletter?
Looking for the unmute button. Yeah, it's pretty much Substack, wamide.substack.com, or you can check out my website, wamide.com. I'm not the only Wamide in the world, but when you Google Wamide, you will find me.
Yes, yes. Wamide's full name is Wamide Animation. So if you're thinking
Yes,
of that,
my
that's what
surname
you're
is
doing.
Animation. So Wamide A or Wamide Animation. That's it, Jam. Thank you.
Okay. And then we do have more exciting webinars. And now that we've known how great this is, we're very likely going to bring one day back. So you want to follow us TS Academy online on all social media platforms, and that's how you're able to just keep track of what we're doing. We'll also send you an email. So follow TS Academy online. Take a screenshot. One is looking really nice now, so take a screenshot of of the screen right now. Put it on social media. Tell people what you've learned. Tag us. Tag Wamide. It's something that's really exciting, and I want us to close with this, and then Wamide will do her closing remark. Wamide said something. She gave us a challenge. She said, it's a 90-day challenge. Do something. Commit to positioning activities. So, what is the one thing that you're going to do? Think of it. Are you going to join communities? I know a lot of people already want to join. Are you going to optimize your LinkedIn? Are you going to apply to a job? Are you going to try to pivot and apply for a TS Academy scholarship, check out our courses, just whatever you can do in the next 90 days, or we made it shorter. From now until the end of the year is actually 41 days. So in the next 41 days, what can you do to? I think we've come to the end of the webinar. Wamide, do you have any final words for us?
Final word, just do it
Yeah.
afraid. You might not know where everything is going, but just do it afraid, do it afraid, do it afraid. Switch afraid, start afraid, join afraid, whatever it is, just do it afraid.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wamide. We're so excited that you could join us. Thank you for your time. We know that we're over time by like 20 minutes, but you stayed, so thank you so much. We're hoping to see you again, so we will call you again. All right. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.